Sometimes when I make videos on this channel, I wish that I was one of the people that had a degree in literature, that could explain to you how things are connected, how things are in the literary world, why books are the way they are. But I'm not. I do not have a degree in literature, nor anything similar to it. And that's why sometimes I feel like saying this book is yet again about a Norwegian horny young man that is sort of, or not just sort of, he's a douchebag. And the only thing I can do is I can compare him, or this book, to other Norwegian books about horny young men. Feels a little old after a while. That being said, this is a book about a young horny Norwegian man in the 50s, or in the 30s, written in the 50s. And it is one of the most famous books we've got. It's The Song of Red Ruby by Agnar Mykle. This is one of the most famous novels in Norway because it was a trial after this. This novel was written because our main boy here, he was maybe a little bit too horny. I would call it cringe horny, I guess, because that's what it is. I don't know if you have the same feeling reading older books in your language about sexual behavior from men, but written in like the old Norwegian way it is, it makes it all worse. Anyway, the trial was in 1957. He was convicted and all of his books were removed from the market, but in 58 it was okay again. So it's one of the staples in our, what's the term called? Our free speech and sexual moral, I guess they call it. I was a little bit entertained by this book. I don't know why. And that's why I made the introduction that I did, because it reminds me so much about Karl Ove Knausgård, another young man talking about himself. But it's impossible for me to say why I think they're similar. They just feel similar, and that irritates me a lot. So if some of you have tips to how I could more easily understand why I recognize stuff without recognizing stuff in books, please leave a comment. Tips and tricks are much appreciated. So this was the first read I've did. It seems kind of small, but it took ages to read, and yeah, that's how it is. The second book I finished was this one by Siri Pettersen. It's the last book in the trilogy about Hirka. It's the Raven Rings trilogy, or the Raven Rings. Yeah, the last book, I don't know what it's called in English. I was positively surprised. I had a bit of a dip in my motivation during book number 2. I liked book number 1 and decided I have to finish this. And as always, I was a little bit too late. I'd forgotten a lot of things about this book, and that sort of ruined it a bit for me. Too many people and too much secret stuff, or stuff that you have to read the other books to understand. But if you wait long enough, you'll forget, and that's annoying. So that's what happened. Anyway, I did very much enjoy this, and I do recommend this series if you want to read like a Norse mythology trilogy written in a YA kind of style, I guess. It doesn't feel grown up reading this stuff, but it's very entertaining. Then I tried reading the Copenhagen trilogy by Tove Ditlevsen. This is stories from her own life about upbringing and so on and so forth. I gave up during her childhood. I don't really know why. This is something that really could be for me. I do like it in a way. I was bored, so maybe I don't like it. She was born in 1918, so her childhood was quite rough, which is described. I could also like that, but I'm trying to get rid of books at this point, and well, I need to try and get rid of books and not just tell you all that I'm getting rid of books. Next one I tried reading was The Trial by Franz Kafka. So I need to read Kafka to have something to... I need to read Kafka because Murakami has written about Kafka in some sense. Maybe he's written about Kafka. He has Kafka in the title, thus I need to read Kafka at some point. The Trial is maybe his most famous novel. I thought it was really, really boring, and I had to stop. I was very surprised by this. I thought it's a short novel, it's a classic, it's Kafka. But I got the point during the first half. I read too much of this before I decided to let it go. So I still have The Castle, I think it's called, by Kafka in my shelf. We'll try that one as well, since, well, some of you have mentioned that that's a better book. I guess The Trial is famous for being the stereotypical Kafkaesque novel. We'll see what happens and what doesn't happen. Something that has happened since last time and hasn't happened in quite a while is that I've bought books. Decided to go for Ben Aaronovitch and The Rivers of London. This I bought after I tried reading the two last ones here because I was bored. I thought this is not boring, this won't be boring, and I will enjoy it. And I think I will. I think I will read it quite soon. Then it's My Father's Back, or Fars Rygg. I don't know if that has been translated yet, but it's by Niels Dahl. It won the Nordic Council Literature Prize in 2024 and of course has been all over the place. It's about a son that has lost his father but goes through his memories some way. I don't know, but it sounded like a sad novel that I could read. Hence my last video about sad books. I think this will be right up my alley at this point, so we'll see. I found it thrifted and I had to buy it. The same goes for this one, 11% by Maren Uthaug. So this is sort of a reverse Handmaid's Tale, it's mentioned as. The reason why I picked it up was not particularly that I found it looks interesting, but it's more that Bookstagram, just this seemed to be their favorite novel like last year, and the rating on Goodreads isn't that good. So I'm a bit curious to see why some people just love this and why some don't. Then I'm going into my old man phase with this one. It's a book about a family living quite rural in Norway, and where a father dies and a 14-year-old boy has to take over the family, or the control of the family. It's written by Marit Eikemo. I really, really wanted to read this novel last year when it came out. Had no idea why. Absolutely no idea why. It feels like the task of an old man reading about like real stories from real people living rurally and having to... they have to just prevail, survive. Something like that. It's like reading Independent People by Halldor Laxness, only that's real and, well, not that dramatic. I don't know, I felt something when I looked at the cover. Make of that what you want, but I did. I felt something. I also picked up Frode Grytten, Saganatt. I only picked up this because it's Frode Grytten. I've read a couple of his books and they are quite curious. When reading reviews of this one, someone said that they hated this one because it was too weird, and I thought, well, that sounds like something I could enjoy. So this became a video about books I read, books that I haven't read, and books I am going to read at some point. It hasn't been the best month for reading, but I do like that some books are going out, some books are staying in my shelf, and some are new editions that I will read at some point. I will stop reading, I will stop buying books now, I hope. I've had a good run. I have had a good period where I haven't bought books, but I went into this thrift store with a friend of mine and, well, I went into another one and then another one, and you get how things are. I do like it, and probably this will make me go and look for more books, but I really struggle to get rid of more books now. I feel like I have to read some in them before I give them up entirely, but that is just an ongoing project. So this was my September wrap-up. I hope your autumn is quite autumnal and positive and good, and I'll see you in the next one. Yeah, and of course, what did you read in September? Because I really like to know. I need more recommendations so I can avoid more books. Bye!